Meditation is not something that you do in the morning and you are finished with it. Meditation is something that you have to go on living every moment of your life, walking, sleeping, sitting, talking, listening. It has to become a kind of climate. A relaxed person remains in it. A person who goes on dropping the past remains meditative. In short, in meditation, you are not there. You simply live as consciousness. When you live in the moment and there is nothing interfering, attention is total. Because there is no distraction. Distractions come from the past and the future. When attention is total, act is total. It leaves no residue. It goes on freeing you. It never creates cages for you. It never imprisons you. And that is the ultimate goal of Buddha. That's what he calls nirvana. Nirvana means freedom. Utterly absolute. Unobstructed. You become an open sky. There is no border to it. It is infinite. It is simply there. And then there is nothingness all around you, within and without. Nothingness is the function of a meditative state of consciousness. And in that nothingness is benediction. That nothingness itself is the benediction. Remember that therefore is always an indication that Buddha is going on looking into Sariputra's nothingness. And as he goes on feeling that his energies are relaxing, his energies are no more in turmoil, that he is not brooding but listening, that he is not thinking but just is there with Buddha, present, open, available. That therefore indicates to that unfoldment of Sariputra's being. Buddha is seeing more and more petals are opening. So he can go a step further. So he can take Sariputra a little more deeper. Sariputra is available. This therefore is not logical. This therefore is existential. Looking into Buddha, Sariputra is unfolding. And looking into Sariputra, Buddha is ready to take him a little further towards the beyond. Each statement is going deeper and higher. These things are higher than thoughts, bigger than thoughts. Thought is silly in these realms. First he says it is because of his non-attainmentness. Meditation cannot be attained because meditation cannot have a motive. When you attain something, you attain through a motive. When you attain something, you always have to work for the future and plan for the future. You cannot attain anything right now except meditation. Let me repeat it. You cannot attain anything right now except meditation. Why? If you want money, you cannot attain it right now. You will have to work hard for it. Without time, you cannot attain money. If there is no time, in this very moment, how can you attain? Even if you want to rob the neighbors, if you want to pick the pockets of the person who is sitting by your side, even that will take time. Time is a must. Only meditation can be attained right now, this very moment, instantaneously. Why? Because it is your nature. Why? Because it is already there. You have not claimed it, that's right, but it remains there unclaimed. You can claim it right now. Not even a single moment has to be lost. It is because of his non-attainmentness. And nirvana is nothing but meditation come full circle. God is nothing but the bud of meditation become a flower. These are not attainments. These are your very realities. The security is on the inward path, because there you come to know that there is nobody to die, that there is nobody to suffer, that there is nothing that can happen, that there is pure sky. Clouds come and go, and the sky abides. Lives come and go, forms come and go, but the nothingness abides. This nothingness is already there. That's why Buddha calls it, it can be attained only when you understand that it is non-attainable. It can be attained only when you understand the basic fact that it is already there, that it is already the case. This emptiness that is there is not in any way to be evolved, developed. It is fully there. Hence, it can be attained in a single moment. Buddha calls it full emptiness. Because emptiness can only be full if it is there. If it is not full, that means something else, then the emptiness is also there. And that something else will hamper, obstruct, and that something else will create a duality, and that something else will create a friction, and that something else will create tension, and that something else will create anxiety. You cannot be at ease with something else. Emptiness is there only when it is full, when all obstructions have been dropped, when you don't have anything inside, nobody there to be as an observer to it. Buddha says this emptiness is not even an experience, because if you experience it, that means you were there to experience it. It is you. So you cannot experience it. You can experience only something that is not you. Experience means duality. The observer and the observed, the knower and the known, the subject and the object, the seer and the seen. But there is only emptiness, nobody to see it, nobody to be seen, nothing as an object, nothing as a subject. This non-dual emptiness is full. It is utterly full. Its fullness cannot be refined. Its fullness cannot be added. Nothing can be taken out of it because there is nothing, and nothing can be added to it. It is utterly full. Full emptiness is not an experience because there is no experiencer in it. Hence, Buddha says, spirituality is not an experience. God cannot be experienced. Those who say that I have experienced God either don't understand what they are saying, or they are using a very, very inadequate language. You cannot experience God. In that experience you are not found. The experience is there, but the experiencer is not there, so you cannot claim it as an experience. It is an experiencing, a live process like a river, like a flower opening and opening and opening, and goes on opening. And there comes never any end to it. So Buddha says, therefore, O Sariputra, it is because of his non-attainmentness. When the mind has come to a stop and is no more interested in attaining anything, then it attains Buddhahood. When the mind has come to a full stop and is not going anywhere, it starts going inwards. It starts falling into one's own being, that abysmal abyss. Full emptiness is attained by a non-attainmentness. So don't become achievers. Don't start thinking in terms of achievement, that you have to achieve this and that. That you have to attain God. These are games. The mind is again deceiving you. The name of the game changes, but the game, the subtle game, remains the same. Only on one thing one has to rely, and that is meditation. Only on one thing one has to rely, and that is awareness, attentiveness. Only one thing one has to rely upon, that is one's own inner source. Because he has been making so many statements to different people because of their different consciousness and understanding. They all started quarreling and fighting. They said, this has been said to me by Buddha. Just think, the first 5 disciples to whom he has said, I have attained, now come to me and I will take you there. If those first disciples meet Sariputra and Sariputra says it is attained through a kind of non-attainmentness, that one who declares that I have attained is wrong because it cannot be attained. What those first disciples will say? They will say, what are you talking about? We are the oldest disciples, the senior most. And this was the first statement that Buddha has made to us, that I have attained. In fact, we would have never followed him if he had not declared that. Because he declared, we followed him. Our motive was clear, that he has attained, we also wanted to attain. That's why we followed him. And he had said to us that I am your refuge. Come and take refuge in me. Let me be your shelter. And what nonsense you are talking about. Buddha could not have said this. You must have misunderstood. Something has gone wrong, or you have fabricated it. Now this statement, this Harsh Sutra, is made in privacy. It has been told to Sariputra. It is specifically addressed to Sariputra. It is like a letter. Sariputra cannot produce any proofs, because in those days tape recorders were not in existence. He can simply say, he can take an oath that I am not saying anything untrue. Buddha has said to me that rely only on your meditation and nothing else. The mind that relies on something else is the spurious self, the ego. The ego cannot exist without props. It wants props. Something has to support it. Once all props have been removed, the ego falls to the ground and disappears. But only when the ego falls to the ground, arises in you that consciousness which is eternal, which is timeless, deathless. Here Buddha says, there is no refuge, Sariputra. There is no remedy, Sariputra. There is nothing and nowhere to go. You are already there. This full emptiness, if you reach into it unprepared, will give you a great trembling. If you are thrown into it by somebody, for example, sometimes people come to me with deep love and respect. They say, Bhagwan, why don't you push me a little hard? If you are not ready for it and you are pushed into it, it is not going to help. It may hinder your progress for many lives to come. Once you have gone unprepared into that nothingness, you will be so shocked, so frightened, so scared to death, that never again you will come to any person for at least few lives who talks about nothingness, who talks about God. You will avoid. That fear will become a seed in you. No, you cannot be pushed unprepared. You can be pushed only slowly, slowly. Only in the same proportion as you are prepared. Have you heard the famous statement of Soren Kierkegaard, the Danish philosopher, the founder of modern existentialism? He says, man is a trembling, constant trembling. Why? Because death is there. Why? Because one day the fear is there, I may not be. He is true about the ordinary mind. Everybody is trembling. The problem is always to be or not to be. It is always hanging there, the death. You cannot conceive yourself disappearing into nothingness. It hurts. It frightens. And if you look deep inside yourself, you will find yourself trembling with the idea of being nothing. You want to be. You want to remain. You want to persist. You want to persist forever. That's why people who don't know anything about their inner being go on believing that the soul is immortal. Not because they know, but because of fears.